What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hardware Sense channel. I hope everybody's staying safe out there. What we have for today is a cooling solution, an AIO from unknown company for me. I went out and bought the cheapest possible 240 radiator AIO solution from eBay, and this is the Leshp, interesting name, Leshp X200. With Intel and AMD retention plates and everything you can do with this interesting knockoff X-Men Wolverine logo here. I don't know what that was all about, but you're gonna see on the details what's inside the box when we do the unboxing. We're gonna see all the details on the back, what kind of RPMs is the pump and the fans. So two fans, no LEDs, nothing fancy, nothing glamorous. We have just two LEDs on the pump which glow blue, and the logo is kind of reminiscent to Transformers, I would say, but not confirmed. So two fans up to between 1200 and 2500 RPMs. So far, testing it, I've seen it not even passing 1400 RPMs, but I guess we'll see about that. The speed of the pump is 2500 RPM. Maybe that's why it's pretty quiet. Spoiler alert, that's one of the best things about this AIO, how quiet it is, compared to some of mine Asetek based cooling solutions, which are pretty loud compared to this one. I mean, when you put them inside a case, you're not gonna hear all of them, but outside on the tense bench or my makeshift tense bench, you can definitely see and hear the difference. Interesting design on the fans. I'm not sure how effective they're gonna be. The blades itself are blue and they're kind of cut in a very interesting way, which again, I'm not very sure, is that better or worse? Maybe not, in my opinion, but maybe they're just gonna be fine. And the other thing interesting is the design of the fan. The actual fan top, when you look at it on an angle, protrudes from the frame of the fan. So that might be an issue when you try to install them for a pull configuration instead of push. I think the blades or the fan itself is going to be touching or hitting the radiator, which is not good. Obviously, we don't want to do that. But again, the cheapest cooling solution, I paid $41 shipped from eBay. I think that's Chinese made. For some reason, all the writing in eBay for the instructions is in Japanese. Maybe they are exporting it for Japan, but it came pretty fast. I think they have a warehouse somewhere in the States, maybe in California. Nicely packaged, well protected. Honestly, nothing to complain here about this packaging solution they have. Nothing came damaged. High quality bolts and nuts. I have to mention that as well, because my Asetek solutions, some of the bolts are no good. You use them a couple times, you start reusing them, and they kind of strip. They have different problems. But these are very nicely done. And I know, paying $40 just for bolts and nuts, it's crazy. It's nuts, right? But yeah, when we're gonna install it and see what kind of temperatures we're gonna get with this solution. Now, when you have it open, you're gonna see it's well packaged in plastic. The pump and the radiator are individually wrapped. Also, we have one more little package that contains all of the screws, retention plates, and everything. They use the same exact plate for Intel and AMD, just need to reverse it. One side is AMD, the other side is Intel, and obviously that supports all the Intel sockets all the way from 775 to 2011. What I'm going to be testing it on is my Z87 gigabyte UD3 with Intel's 4770K, clocked at 4.5 gigahertz. This is what I'm having on this CPU and what I'm using for testing a lot, actually, for these kind of AIOs. This particular CPU is made in Costa Rica. what is kind of known as the coveted batch or 477Ks that are made in Costa Rica opposed to made in Asia and Malaysia, whatever the Intel other factories are. And most people know that those samples or those SKUs that are produced in Costa Rica have higher clock ability, lower voltages. I have this one on 4.5 at 1.2 volts and it's working perfectly fine. I probably can push another 100 or 200 megahertz on it, but I really don't want to. I think once you pass 4.5, the temperatures are going a little bit higher, or you got to push a little bit more voltage. So it's really no big payoff going a couple hundred more megahertz on top of that. So I'm sticking with 4.5. So back on the IAO, instructions are inside as well. But honestly, without even reading the instructions, I was able to install it right away. If you have ever installed any IAOs, you will be pretty familiar. But for those of you that have not, again, just go ahead and read the instructions. They're pretty self-explanatory and pretty easy to understand for both Intel and AMD. And you are going to be able to install it for less than 5 minutes. As you guys can see, I am removing my stock Asetek 120 that I was testing with this specific motherboard, and removing the previous thermal solution. Of course, we're going to use some alcohol and some kitchen paper, which is good because it has less fibers that come off of it, wiping off the thermal solution good, and then pre-applying some new one so that we can install the new AIO. Now, one thing to notice right away is a little bit concerning to me. You're gonna look around the pump of that Leshp X002. I'm just gonna call it X002 from now on because the name is kind of crazy, but you will notice there is some oxidation around the bolts or around the screws that are holding the pump together. Also, you're gonna notice there's some residue, which is a little bit concerning to me. That might be a leak, but as always, I test my AIOs outside before installing them just to make sure there is no leaks. I hook it up directly to a power supply, let it run for a little bit, and there's no leaks at all. So I'm not sure what's that all about, what's with the residue and oxidation. But again, even if it's a tiny leak, I really cannot recommend you installing it and using it for a long time, because this is a little bit concerning. You know, obviously I don't want me or anybody else to burn their motherboard or CPU or both or something else if there's a leak. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and test it anyway, so that I can show you the temperatures and what the difference is with some other solutions, so you can kind of judge it by yourself. But at the same time, this is concerning. The pump itself is kind of heavy and big compared to some of the Asetek ones, but that might be a good thing. It's really not that big of a difference. In height, maybe slightly less than twice compared to that existing Asetek solution I have, and some of the other ones obviously. Pre-installed is the retention clips on the side of the pump. They are for Intel, but they supply some additional ones for AMD as well, like I mentioned. So installation super easy. Just put the back plate with the screws through the motherboard. Then we apply the plastic for standoffs, and then we're good to go. Just make sure you peel off the plastic off of the pump and slash block. Pre-apply your cooling solution. They're giving you a little syringe with some. I'm not sure how good it is, but I'm going to use my trusty GD900. Very good solution. I bought this big syringe, 30 grams from China a while back, and I'm using it all the time. And this is quite good actually. Very comparable to a lot of the top level and super expensive solutions out there. So yeah. Quick installation, putting it on, then holding it tightly down so it won't stick back out from the CPU, and then apply it on a cross for the four provided kind of a chrome nuts on top of it, bolted to the screws on the bottom. Squeeze it tight with your hands and use a little screwdriver, but don't over tight it, just enough to feel when that stops, and that's it. You're good to go. Plug in the pump into your motherboard CPU header, fan header, and plug in the two fans together in the provided adapter to the another one available depending on your motherboard. My specific one has a CPU and CPU opt, which is you can use it for pump and the CPU fans, or you can just plug it into external power. You know, they provide you a adapter for Molex to fan. Not the best solution. Ideally, I would like to see a SATA to the fan adapter, but I'm sure you can probably work it out and find a way to do it if you want to run it externally and not through the motherboard. I personally going to run it through the motherboard and see what the result's going to be. And quick shot on my makeshift test bench is just a box with everything sitting on top of it. Obviously, this is what I have at the moment, so this is what we're going to use. It's not a big deal. Everything is hooked up and running. Again, I have to mention, super quiet, no leaks at the moment, but keep in mind what I said before. So there are not too many LEDs, nothing on the fans, just on the pump, forming this kind of a transformer face right there with the blue LEDs for the eyes. I have to say the pump is extremely quiet, much quieter than all the Asetek pumps I have, and the fans are not too loud at all. This is one of the big plus about this AIO solution, is it's pretty silent. Slight negative on the fans, you can't really do push-pull with the stock fans. You cannot do pull because of the way the fan is kind of protruding out of its own frame. And you guys saw it, a couple millimeters. You're not going to be able to flip that around and put it against the radiator. Cables are pretty long, which is good. You can round behind your motherboard tray, tuck them in so they're not going to be in your way. And there's only one cable coming out of the pump hooking up to your motherboard, or you can use it with the adapter to do like an external power source to it, but it's only 3-pin. Again, very quiet. I'm pretty surprised how quiet it is. As you can see, the results, the temperature stays with the norm around 70 degrees. Idling with this solution, I'm getting 30 degrees, around 30-35 degrees, which is normal pretty much with everything else. And running Cinebench a couple of rounds, one after another, I'm getting around 70-71 degrees Celsius. Keep in mind the room temperature is 24 degrees Celsius, so that's the delta you can calculate there. Again, nothing spectacular. I'm not blown out of the water what the performance of this AIO is. It kind of performs what I was expecting, up to par with other solutions out there. What's good about it? Its price, $40. Again, $40 for 240. Radiator and pump solution, it's very good. Even the cheapest ones that you can find out there for respectable companies, a lot more. They will run you around $60. So if you really are on a strict budget and you don't want to spend much money, $40, yeah, it's good. But again, am I going to recommend it? No, because of what I saw on the pump and block solution, this residue and oxidation. I don't know how over time that is going to be. Maybe it's just my unit. So if you go ahead and buy one of those or find one of those, make sure to check that first and report back. Leave a comment if you're seeing anything similar with yours. It might be just a manufacturer problem with the big run, or it's just a single case like mine has been sitting somewhere or was not tight enough, who knows. But just for the testing, I went ahead and tested for you guys so you can see what kind of performance you can expect. But at the same time, I cannot recommend it to you guys for a long-term use. So that's pretty much it. So let's summarize at the end, guys. What do we got is a very budget-friendly AIO solution with the 240mm radiator. Plus, I'm going to list the plus things, or the things I feel like they are positive with this one. First of all, obviously the price. Second of all, easy to install, very, very easy to install, very easy to mount. The provided tools, screws, and everything else is high quality, very well made, very good packaging, no damage in transportation. What else is a big plus is how silent it is. Pump and fans are very silent. You can never hear them, especially if you put them inside a case. On my test bench, open bench, obviously you can hear a little bit of them when you are super close, but if you move away 3 feet, completely silent. I mean, you can not even hear them, super silent. Effectiveness, it's pretty much on par with everything else I've seen out there, so that's not bad. We can mark it as a plus. What negative is, well, first thing is the oxidation and residue on the block/pump. I'm not sure if that's a leak. I'm not sure how long that's going to last if you are relying on this on the long term. So for me, I'm not going to use that in the long term just because of that fact. Unfortunately, because I like pretty much everything else about it. And the next thing is the fans itself are, because they are designed this way, you can't use them as pull, just as push. So it might not be ideal situation for most of you or some of you. At least I normally like to do a pull instead of push because the dust accumulation and all that stuff, it's a lot easier and it looks cleaner in my opinion, but that's again very personal. If you guys like anything else, it's fine. But if you replace those fans with something else, yeah, that's fine, that's possible. But again, the price is gonna jump up. So we're trying to test everything the way it is stock. And being stock, obviously we want to see what exactly they are giving us here. Again, very interesting packaging, very interesting name of a company, I have to say. You can see some of the inspirations, obviously. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I was expecting a little bit more, and I was hoping if didn't have that block residue and kind of oxidation, I would have probably used that for a longer time, tested with different fans, see what I can squeeze max out of this solution and see how good it's going to be long term. But because of that, I cannot use it for a long time. That's pretty much it, guys. Hit the thumbs up if you like the videos. Stay tuned to the channel, subscribe if you're new. I have a lot more videos coming up right there, several pre-built computers sitting that I'm filming on them, making different updates, and I'm gonna have another common one that everybody's been requesting about changing the cooling solution on that pre-built HP Pavilion desktop, which, spoiler alert, I'm blown out of the way how well that one performs now with the updated solution. But you're gonna see it on the next video, guys. For now, as always, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.